Hey, how's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of the State of the Union presented by Covalent. Today, we're joined by a fantastic panel of guests who just so happens to be the team that launched the Polygon zkEVM Mainnet Beta last month. So we have Jordi and David, the co-founders of Polygon zkEVM, and I have so many questions, and I'm very, very excited to dive into this conversation to talk about the next chapter of scaling Ethereum. Jordi and David, it's such a pleasure to have you guys on. Thanks for joining.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, really appreciate you guys. And I know you both have a super long history as contributors on Ethereum. So can you guys each share a bit about your background and also give us a brief overview of your role in Polygon?
Yeah, maybe I can start. Well, among everything, I'm a developer. I'm an engineer since I'm 12 years old. That's my passion and what I really like to do. I'm in crypto since 2015. I've been participating in many things in crypto. I was part of the White Hat groups in the rescue of the DAO and Parity Multi-Sig at the beginning. I've been developing many smart contracts and many IPs in contributing to Ethereum. Then we created together already with David, we created Ident3. Which an identity, a self-sovereign identity project. From there, we created Circom, mainly tooling for zero-knowledge proof. At that point, we started creating Hermez 1. Hermez 1 is a payments-only roll-up, one of the first systems, one of the first roll-ups that happened. And since there, we started building the zkEVM, and I've been the technical lead of the zkEVM. 1 year and a half ago, we joined forces with Polygon. And here we are, just scaling Ethereum.
That's amazing.
Well, I'm David. I'm also an engineer, although I've been working more on the project management side, product side for some time. Jordi already explained it. We joined forces in 2018 from the identity to the scalability project. And my role in Polygon is basically helping the team to develop the technology and moving forward the product. And now in Polygon, we are in another adventures. We want to make the scalability happen in any way. So big announcements and improvements coming soon.
Awesome. That's awesome. I appreciate that. I appreciate the color from both of you. Just curious, how did you two meet?
Who we meet? Mainly we did an MBA together, so we spent a lot of hours at that time. But mainly my story is that I did MBA just to discover that I was a technical guy, so I didn't want to do business. But I had the opportunity to meet very cool people and people that were very good in management, in delivering, and understanding how an enterprise work. And well, when I started working in crypto, and at some point I wanted to build something that was big, and we started to build a team. Then I just asked for help to David and the other partner, Tony. And the truth is that has been very successful. They helped me a lot. I mean, at least they let me focus in the technical side, and they have been doing all this management.
Yeah, Jordi is a very special guy. We met a long time ago, and since then we keep in contact. And yeah, now we are super close again. So yeah, super happy to be together on this.
Yeah, that's great to hear. It seems like you guys have formed a beautiful friendship, and you guys have certainly built something very, very big with the Polygon zkEVM that benefits the entire industry. So thank you in advance from the whole Ethereum community and the crypto community. So before we get into the weeds of the Polygon zkEVM, I think it's worth taking a step back and taking a look at the Polygon ecosystem as a whole. So can you two kind of speak on how the Polygon ecosystem has grown to where it's at today? And at what point and why did you guys join forces with Polygon?
Well, the Polygon ecosystem was growing a lot before we even joined hands with them. Because the amazing co-founders led by Sandeep, Mikhailo, Anurag, JD, they were creating this sidechain that came at the right moment to save the scalability issues in Ethereum. So these guys did an amazing job creating a tech that was practical, that was affordable, and at the same time to do a big effort on creating ecosystem development and integrations everywhere. So this ecosystem development was an important reason for us to join Polygon. because we had this first experience with the Hermez network project of scalability in 2020. And this was the project that we wanted to, reach the market with some scalability solution. So when we discussed with Polygon the possibility to work together, we had an amazing feeling because they are amazing guys, and the level of understanding was very important. And they were providing for us this set of resources that we needed to develop the project, and we had success recently. It was a very important effort for everyone, but the bet that Polygon did on us was clear and very solid from the beginning. And basically, we were looking this access to this ecosystem, access to this help and support. We also had the chance to collaborate with other teams in Polygon, like Polygon Zero, Polygon Maiden, and other Polygon team members that contributed to this development. So being part of Polygon was for us a very good decision and an important accelerator. And now we feel absolutely core components of Polygon, and we are just not join forces as a project, but we are just the same team.
Absolutely. Jordi, do you have anything to add to that?
No, yeah, that absolutely has been fundamental. When you have to do this kind of operations, these kinds of merge, there is always doubts. But in this case, in this case of operations, you are just trying to find the win-win. I mean, it's like what wins Polygon merging us, and what the Hermez team wants joining Polygon. And I think that this was very clear, the advantages of both sides. So for me, I think it was a very good operation, and seeing. 1 year and a half later, I think that has been a very, very, very successful merge. And it's still a lot of things going on. So I think it was a very, very good decision at that point in both sides.
Really. I think what I love about Polygon is it has always seen itself as a set of technologies to scale Ethereum, not just one single solution. So it has the POS sidechain, the SuperNet app chains, Maiden, ZK Rollup, the ID system that I know you guys are also working a little bit on, and then now the zkEVM. And as Covalent, we're super lucky to have worked with Sandeep and Halil on the POS chain, indexing it and supporting it with our APIs, and also the SuperNet team, and now finally the zkEVM team. So we're also super honored to be a part of this. And it's certainly true that the zkEVM has now become a huge part of Polygon's core identity and roadmap. So it's also really good and exciting to see that. So now, I guess, can you walk us through the journey of two Polygon zkEVM Mainnet Beta since the start? So what were you guys setting out to do with it? And now that it's live, what does it unlock today?
Well, we can start just after the launch of the Polygon Hermez. It was not a zkEVM, it was a rollup. It was a payments-only rollup. And we were discussing, what would be the evolution of this network. And at that time, a very good friend of mine, that was Barry Whitehat from the Ethereum Foundation, we were spending, I would say, some hours or even some days together. He just tried to convince me to build the zkEVM. Just or at least convince me that the zkEVM was really possible. At the beginning was Barry, this is impossible. This is not going to work. The technology is not mature enough. But he insists, and we were doing the exercise of seeing, okay, why it's not possible, or what would be the bottlenecks, or what would be the big issues. At that point, some new techniques in the ZK were discovered, all these polynomial commitments derived from Plonk, and the lookups, and some other techniques that they were quite promising. So we were just trying to use all those tools to solve the different pieces of the zkEVM, and we went to all the pieces. The memory, to go to the to each of code, the crate, the composability, the ECDSA, the catch-ups. All the different pieces of the zkEVM, and we were theoretically solving. Oh yeah, we could do that this way, we could do that way. And at one point we realized, okay, more or less the big I mean, the big stoppers are solved. Some of them are a little bit difficult, but it's not. So we go from it is impossible to this. Okay, this may be possible. It's a lot of work and a lot of things to do, but this may be possible. Then comes, well, once with Barry, I was convinced. We were convinced. Then I had to convince my partners, because I mean, just going to kind of this risky project, something that you don't even know.
But we were super excited, that.
It's possible. I mean, here, Barry also helped me a little bit to talk with him. But the truth was that, I mean, he was a very good acceptance from the beginning. So from there, we start building. I mean, we used some of the team that we had in Polygon Hermez. At that point, also the conversations with Polygon started. The fact that we joined Polygon, this helped a lot, us, especially financially. I mean, this zkEVM is not a project that you built in a couple of engineers one afternoon in a hackathon. I mean, it's a lot of hours. I think that more or less project I measure something like 20 to 30 years, person years, more or less, of work on that. So it's. I mean, you cannot do that alone. So we set up the team. We merged Polygon. We created the team. Building the team is not easy. I mean, it's just finding the right persons. We had to hire a lot of people from outside crypto. It's it's an onboarding. To build the zkEVM, we started building a lot of the tooling that we needed to build the zkEVM. But we were advancing, advancing more, progressing good. I mean, with good progress, and that there was also an important point here that was the discounts from the other teams from Polygon. In this case, Polygon Zero. They were using a technology with a small prime field, with a Goldilocks prime field, and that was very revolutionary because this allows us to build really fast provers. So at some point we had to switch this technology. This was maybe this gave us a delay of about a couple of months, more or less, but was a very important decision because actually the improvement that we achieved in the prover was great. And in last July, we presented the project was, more or less finished. We open source that and we show we are here. But okay, the problem is that the project is finished. I would say the lines of code more or less were in place, but then is when you need to start testing, and especially the auditing and securing that has been half a year. I mean, be just in testing and auditing and securing. We had to review some small pieces too. I mean, has been a lot of work. I would say many days and many nights here. It's important to mention the huge effort of the whole team. I'm proud to say that we have the best team in the world. I mean, these words, they may sound okay, but you don't know all the other teams. But I really feel that way. I think that the team, at the same time that we're enjoying a lot building the team, they also were working days, nights, weekends, spending on a lot of hours and doing with a smile in the mouth. I mean, just you see that the people is enjoying, but at the same time, I mean, it's doing a huge effort. And finally, because I need it at some point, because the last month is always finally we launched it on March 27. And I mean, I think this is a very important milestone, but again, it's just a milestone. The life move forward, and it's like we're just starting.
To the starting line.
Exactly.
So probably the difficult part was this one, because as Jordi was saying, we envision a lot of challenges and stoppers and potential risks to make this happen, because everybody believed that this project was not even practical or not possible, or we were super far in terms of maturity of technology. But Jordi and team make this happen, and as Jordi was saying, we have an amazing team. And the Polygon team contribution, the broad Polygon team, was also crucial for that. And we are super happy that we got to this point where we were not able only to show that this is possible, but also we put this on mainnet. And to be honest, the figures we have in terms of cost of transaction or proof time. All of this is amazing and much over our initial expectations, because some of the discussion for zk rollups at the beginning were, oh, this is not possible, the proofs time. We were discussing at the beginning, we were imagining data centers to how we'll be able to compute all these polynomials and all these proofs. And today we are using servers, cloud servers or regular servers. And it's even, I would say, in one server you can do so many proofs. So it's amazing how we just made this happen. And as Jordi was saying, it was very hard to the last months were very hard, especially when you feel you are already there and the project is done, but you are not ready for a main launch. And from now we have a lot of challenges. I would say the difficult part now is to get this experience on mainnet to prepare for massive load, because all of this was about scaling, and we need to make sure that the capacity and the unitary cost for users and all these services that a public blockchain needs, they are ready for onboarding of the apps. And this is what we are working on, plus a lot of optimizations and improvements that we have in the roadmap. Maybe you want to about optimizations or
this is the three main lines of work besides security. Security is it's a fourth line that's always in there, but this is functionality. Functionality is going to first to a type 2 rollup. Right now we are at type 3. That means we're very close to be a type 2. It's interesting because in this classification there is this rollup 2.5. That actually we implement this 2.5. The difference between the 2.5 and 2 is that the 2.5 don't require to implement the gas model of Ethereum, and we are also implementing the gas model of Ethereum. So in this sense, we are type 2 Ethereum, but we still are missing some of the precompiled smart contracts. Here is the SHA-256 and pairings that I would say in the next version it will happen. So this, from functionality perspective, we are going very much in that direction. Then there is this, as David said, is about these, optimizations especially in the costs and the throughput of the network. Here we expect, we are targeting a 50x after the EIP 4844. There's a 5x in the data compression plus 10x on the EIP 4844. And the last point I would say is even the most difficult, but we are also working on that direction, is the decentralization part. Decentralizing the sequencer is one of the topics. We start working on that direction, and that's the other piece that's important. So or the effort of the team right now is in these three directions.
Yeah, I can't imagine the work it took to launch the mainnet. And the scary part is now the real work actually begins, and there's a lot more down the line. But it's important to kind of take a moment to enjoy the launch, and then a huge congratulations to you guys as well, as this is a huge milestone for our entire industry. For the listeners who may not be as familiar with the zkEVM, could you guys further elaborate on why the zkEVM has been so hard? And why is it considered the Holy Grail when it comes to scaling Ethereum?
Well, the interesting thing of a zkEVM, and is the nice thing of the zkEVM, is that from the user perspective, they should not notice the difference between deploying or working on top of Ethereum or deploying on top of the zkEVM. So a zkEVM should do exactly the same thing that Ethereum does. You should be able to use exactly the same tool sets in the same way. But just pointing to the zkEVM, and it should work very much the same way, and maybe with the difference of the costs and the throughput. But besides that, users should not notice any difference. So this is the magic thing, and this is why it's not interesting. The problem is that in order to build that, in a zk rollup, you need to build the zk proofs, to prove Ethereum transactions. That means that you need to prove that you are executing a transaction the same way that a normal Ethereum client like Geth is doing. You need to verify that the signature is fine, that you have enough funds, that if you are deploying a smart contract, you should deploy a smart contract. If you are doing a token transfer, you do a token transfer. If you are making any call to a smart contract, it does exactly the same. So the behavior needs to be exactly the same that the Ethereum. And Ethereum, when was designed, was not designed with a zk EVM in mind. So the difficulty here was to use all this new zk technology and use it, build it, compose it, to be able to generate these proofs in an efficient manner. This has been the difficulty, and all the challenges that we faced during the last 2 years were very much about that. How we solve this. So this Ethereum is, I don't know, is using memory, and it has like a byte. It's a word alignment, which is 256 bits, but you can access byte to byte, and the address is byte to byte. And then there is some unalignments. And okay, so how you solve that with polynomials, with arithmetization, with zk, so that does it in the right way. And challenge like that, I mean, we can talk about the arithmetic operations, we can talk about the ketchaks, we can talk about calling another smart contract. It's a lot of challenges, or I know, validating the CDSAs. I mean, there is a lot of challenges that you need to solve in the mission way, and this has been the every days. It's like what I'm saying, that in our team we had 1 or 2 challenges per week. That was very much the reason. By the way, we're still having 1 or 2 challenges per week.
The party continues. No, in the question why the zkEVM is the Holy Grail. I mean, in layman terms, I would say that the reason why public blockchains doesn't scale is because you have so many participants that create this consensus around a new change of state. And with the zk rollup, what you are doing is to reuse layer 1, which is Ethereum, for data availability, which is one of the critical part of the security, and to verify the proofs that creates this scalability in layer 2. So what are proofs? Proofs are cryptographic pieces that are very easy to verify, but these artifacts that say that certify that a specific computation follows these specific rules. So we are creating proofs that say that off-chain execution of transactions that have the same behavior as Ethereum are correct. And these proofs basically are changing the trust model. The trust model today in Ethereum is basically the consensus. Many nodes are executing transactions, and we have a consensus around, oh, this execution is correct. What the zkEVM is doing is to get this execution of chain, and then one single operator is executing these transactions and creating the proof attached to it. So this proof is the new source of trust. And it's very efficient because the rest of the network doesn't need to repeat the same computation. Basically, we send the proof to Ethereum, Ethereum verifies this in a smart contract, and then you know that everything that happened off-chain in this layer 2 is correct. So this is a capacity of scalability that's unbeatable and provides many benefits, like very fast finality, because once the proof is created and verified on layer 1, you can certify that this state is final, and creates a lot of efficiencies and potential composability. That's something that also we have in the Polygon roadmap. But in our vision, this is the best scalability model, and zk is not only to develop scalability solutions, is to develop potentially other kind of processors, as Jordi and team were building specific tooling for that. We developed this tooling for zkEVM specifically, but we open sourced all of it, and we expect that the community is making use of this for other uses, like other VMs. For example, in Polygon, we have another scalability solution called Mainnet, and Mainnet is not following Ethereum rules, it's a different model, and many others will come. So it's a very exciting times in terms of zk scalability.
You guys mentioned the magic of the Polygon zkEVM is it's exactly the same for users as using Ethereum. So now that the Mainnet Beta has launched on March 27th, what can users like myself go on there and do and explore right now?
Well, this is the cool thing. You can do whatever you are doing in Ethereum. I mean, you can build anything you can do. I mean, you can create your own token, you can create your NFT, you can create your voting system, you can create, your scroll contract, your security contract, your DeFi contract. I mean, your whatever you want to build, exactly the same thing that you want to build in Ethereum. You can build in the zkEVM, but with a fractional cost of the mainnet. One of the things, for example, when I was at the beginning of the zkEVM, when I was presenting the zkEVM, I was presenting, I mean, in public or even to my colleagues, to the founders. The demo was very easy because I was just in general, I just took Remix or just took and just deploy some smart contract, but it was nothing fancy. It was just deploying something on the, like you would do it in any testnet or in any mainnet in Guerli. So it was very simple. But this simplicity, this thing that you don't need to do nothing, you just use your tooling and connect just to the zkEVM, and just connect your MetaMask to zkEVM and just work normal. This simplicity is the magic of the zkEVM. That you don't need to learn anything. You don't need to learn any tooling. You just do the same thing that you would do it in Ethereum or in Polygon POS or in any other Ethereum-based Ethereum. This is the magic. This is the magic, and this is the best thing of a zkEVM.
Yeah. The equivalence is the big differentiator for us, because it's the capacity to reuse the whole Ethereum ecosystem. When you come to wallets, to dapps, anything that works on Ethereum can work on the Polygon zkEVM. And for us, we are in this phase where we are in the on-ramp, deploying this kind of applications and service providers that some of the DeFi applications are in need to deploy. And this is going very well. So basically, soon you will be able to use any major DApp that you can run or use on Ethereum, beyond deploying your own smart contracts and do transactions and all of this. So we are in the process of integration, and we are receiving feedback from everyone that is deploying their own apps without any support from our side, because it's basically the same thing and works the same.
Yeah, I think you guys touched on many good benefits of deploying on the zkEVM. And, with all these benefits and the, ease of use, what do you two hope people build? What are some use cases that you and the team are most excited to see deployed on the Polygon zkEVM?
Well, at the beginning, I mean, we still have even that right now, I think that the gas cost is about 15% of the Ethereum main costs currently. We are targeting that to divide by 5 this cost after the compression, and after the EIP 4844 is an extra 10x on top of that. But at this point, transactions are, I mean, they are much cheaper than Ethereum, but they are not as cheap as many applications would like. I think that at this point, DeFi applications make a lot of sense, because zkEVM does not have any breach. Well, it has a breach, but it's not a breach with kind of a multi-sig breach, or a kind of it's a smart contract that you just transfer from one side to the other. So the security is Ethereum security. So I expect that DeFi, especially with relatively small values. I mean, if you want to trade $1 million, maybe you will go to mainnet. But if you are trading, I don't know, $50 or $100 right now, I think that Ethereum, the cost of swapping that in Ethereum is maybe the same amount, and it makes no sense. So I think that doing that in a zkEVM at this point could make a lot of sense. But as we get, as we lower the price in the upcoming month, we believe that all the decentralized applications sooner or later will end up in a zkEVM layer 2 zk roll up for sure.
Yeah, basically the difference for zkEVM is that we reuse the security of Ethereum, because both the bridge is decentralized and the verification of proofs is happening on layer 1. So this is a very important part of the cost, but especially when we do compression. Today, basically, is data availability, the cost that we have to get impact into the users. But as Jordi was saying, with the compression in place, we'll have a very low cost. And for now, DeFi seems the best use case because the DeFi applications value the security. From here, when the cost is reducing and more competitive, for example, compared to Polygon POS, then many applications would consider also to be on Polygon zkEVM as there's this trade-off between security and cost that basically design choice for many applications.
Thanks for that in-depth explanation. So another thing is, as we all know, there's many zkEVM teams out there. So if you two zoom out, how is the Polygon zkEVM different than some of the other zkEVMs that are in the market right now?
Well, I think that right now we are the only zkEVM that's in mainnet. For me, definition of the zkEVM is, as I told you before, is something that you don't need to reuse any other any special tooling. You just connect and you're using a zkEVM. There are other approaches that are using some still compatible with Ethereum, but just building some special tooling, some special compilers out of that, and this one means maintaining have different security model, maintaining different tooling, and well, it's an approach, but I think that's not, in my opinion. I think it's better just to use normal Ethereum approach, especially from the user perspective. There are other teams that went more for, okay, let's not even be compatible with Ethereum. Let's build something new. Okay, that's of course that's an option, but you need to build the full ecosystem on top of that. And there are other interesting teams that they are building, and they probably will launch very soon some other zkEVMs. Here, I want to mention, for example, the Consensus people or Scroll people. They probably will come very soon.
Yeah, we have a full respect for all these teams because they are trying to accomplish the same mission as we wanted to solve, which is the Ethereum scalability. We feel very much part of this community, and we are happy to be also heavy contributors because all of our technology is already open sourced. And yeah, we are sharing all of our ideas and concepts and evolution with everyone, looking forward for anyone to reuse concepts as they want, as the same way we were using other teams' work and ideas. And this is the interesting part of becoming contributors in the Web3 space, and we are super proud and happy to do that. And all these teams, of course, they are coming with a lot of ideas and innovation. And we hope we can find all these teams in the same place, so we can just figure out a full solution for users, because there are many trade-offs between this efficiency, the specific applications. zk is a technology that's still evolving a lot, and we need to learn a lot from each other. And yeah, we are looking forward to see more mainnets and more teams just getting to this technology. We are basically focused on building our protocol and our project, and I was super excited on continuing getting this traction and experience. But respect for everyone, and happy to have this ecosystem of teams working on this.
Our goal is not to beat anybody. Our goal is to scale Ethereum. And here, we are talking and we are collaborating with other teams, and I think that here we share a lot of these goals with other teams too. So important here is to build Ethereum, to make Ethereum big, to reach as many applications as possible. I think that from the technological perspective, it's important to learn from one each other. It's important that there are many teams in the space, because it's the way to get different experience, and you learn from one to the other. And I think this is interesting but necessary to build the ecosystem, and to build the ecosystem fast.
Yeah, absolutely. I think ultimately it's the teams collaborating. It's decentralization versus centralization. So it's good to hear that all the zkEVM teams are learning from each other and working together as well. Actually, on our last episode, we had a Declan from Consensus zkEVM, or Linea. he talked about eventually having a multi-prover. So I was wondering, what are your thoughts on multi-prover?
Yeah, multi-prover, I mean, it's from the theoretical perspective, is very nice. From the practical perspective, there are some difficulties to having the prover, especially for type 3s. Because type 3s means that there are some differences with Ethereum. One of the important difference, for example, in our case, is the what we call the zk counters. I mean, a prover, in a zk prover, you don't have all the resources. I mean, you cannot, in the same proof, you cannot put as many ketchups as you want, or you cannot put as many arithmetic operations as you want, or you cannot put infinite number of opcodes. So you have some limitations in there. So you need to take some kind of an accountability, the same way that you are doing with gas. But this is the thing, is this is very specific from the prover. And if you want to have a multi-prover, you need a consensus. I mean, you need to share the consensus. You need to share exactly the same deterministic function that goes from one side to the other. So I would say that in type 3, this is very difficult from the practical perspective. But what's true is that as we approach to a type 2, that means that you are much more compatible with Ethereum. And this, in type 2, I think that's something that we can start to talk about. And here it would be really interesting to see other projects that are in type 2, and maybe we can share some provers there. I mean, it's not easy, but definitively one interesting solution to consider.
Especially when we get to type 1. This is when
but type 1 is then no problem. I mean, type 1 is it's a full Ethereum equivalent. So here you will not then type 1 is perfectly possible. But I mean, we're still think that we're still a little bit far away for a type 1 in an optimal fashion. We could build the type 1 right now, so we are not that far. But the problem is that doing type 1, maybe we would be like 10 times less efficient on that. And at the end, so being a type 1 has a lot of advantages, but from the rollup perspective, from a layer 2 perspective, it's not. I mean, you don't have very big advantages. You have some advantage, but it's not a big win for a zk layer 2 rollup. I mean, the thing is that being a type 1 rollup has other super interesting applications. For example, in the same Ethereum for the light clients and for other even for proving segments of the chain. I mean, there is a lot of applications that could have a lot of sense for a type 1, okay? But from the perspective of a zk rollup, it's interesting, but not as much interesting as being a type 2.
So thanks for that. Let's segue into our recent integration. So can you guys kind of share a little bit about why Polygon zkEVM decided to partner with Covalent as an infrastructure project, and what will this bring to builders of the Polygon zkEVM ecosystem?
Well, it's very important that, as I said before, we're in this process of onboarding service providers like you guys, because we need to provide all these services like indexing to these dapps. There are many dapps that are used to work with specific partners in some of the blockchains, for example, POS or Ethereum, and they are just requiring these integrations to be fully, operative in terms of accessing the on-chain data, and to getting good information, also like having Oracle information. So these kind of integrations are basic for us to become a fully enabled public blockchain. So we can onboard all this set of dapps. And this is specifically important in DeFi, which we were saying before that is kind of the first cohort of teams that we are receiving in the zkEVM, because the security and the cost of the network today is very, let's say, favorable to these teams that are, receiving a lot of good feedback from our network, but at the same time they value security, but they need you guys. So it's why we just work together. We were doing this also for POS, so we're very happy to work also with you guys on the zkEVM.
Yeah,
this is a nice thing of the Ethereum space. I mean, that Adrian is we are Ethereum, we're building a zkEVM. That means that it's not only dapps, it's the dapps, it's the providers, it's the the explorers, the exchanges, the tooling. So all the ecosystem that goes around can be integrated to the zkEVM very easily. And it's not that can be integrated, it's that they need one each other. I mean, and all the pieces connected is what makes this space big. And I think that all these tooling providers, I mean, these solution providers for applications like yours is really important that they support in the zkEVM for other applications just to run on top.
Can I ask you which was your experience deploying on zkEVM?
Yeah, I think the best part about zkEVM is that it's exactly the same as Ethereum or POS, like you mentioned. So, for us, it was super easy. And it was just like, integrating with Ethereum and integrating with the POS. It took us less than 5 business days to do. So it was super fast, super easy. And I think the good part about our partnership is now that we've integrated, the data behind Polygon zkEVM can be accessed through our API. And, developers can now, build a lot of use cases like wallets, taxation tools, NFT marketplaces, leverage our multi-chain data. And this will, make the ecosystem more vibrant and also improve the developer tooling, like you guys mentioned, which is ultimately benefits the developer experience. So, this also allows a lot of analysts to come on board to create dashboards and see the, historical data of what's happening inside Polygon zkEVM. So, like a lot of people who may not know, like that's kind of the benefits of an indexing provider.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah,
it's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys also want to elaborate on why indexing could be potentially important for developers?
I mean, in indexing, if anybody that has developed a dApp at some point, they need that. I mean, well, maybe if you do a very, very, very simple smart contract, maybe you don't. But even, I would say the next thing to simple, the smart contract, you will see the need for tracking the network, for collecting data from the network and accessing and having good access to this data. I mean, I would say that this is a fundamental service in today's development of an application.
Also, I feel like we are getting to the point where we are trying to mitigate kind of the Web3 effect into the UX in some way, both from the infrastructure providers or networks, also from the dApps. So you play an important role to improve the experience of users while using Web3 dApps or wallets or apps or anything, because it's as public chains will grow, it will become more and more difficult to get a good experience. For us, it's one of the challenges we want to improve, because it's at the level of Polygon POS. I think as Polygon, we improve a lot the finality, and this is something that increase the capability for developers to build something new, not only for the cost of transactions, but also the experience. For us, the challenge on the zkEVM is to continue with this level of fast finality and to provide this fast access to data. So yes, your services are very important to the app builders, because users, they are used to work on Web2 applications, and we need to continue improving the UX as we can.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks so much for the kind words. And to developers out there who may not be familiar with Covalent or indexing, we essentially do is we index chains from Genesis. So we ingest everything that has happened on Polygon zkEVM. So that means every single block, smart contract, event, and transaction on zkEVM, and then everything that follows as well. So we're only 2 blocks behind Polygon zkEVM, which is about like a 30-second latency. So, if you use our unified API, and let's say you want to build a multi-chain portfolio tracker like CoinGecko, or a DeFi dashboard like DeFi Llama, or use our API to power your wallet like Rainbow, get balances and transactions from Polygon zkEVM and the 100 other chains we support, you can, get that data seamlessly from our API and it's super easy to get started. And we highly encourage you guys to get started and deploy on the Polygon zkEVM as well.
I remember just not many years ago. I mean, when you deployed when you had a dApp, I mean, you had to, spin up some node servers to synchronize the network, set up some databases, do your own, your own indexing, and then generate your own API and put everything together. This was, was a little bit a lot of work, and I think that projects like yours makes the things much more simple for developers.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. I think ultimately the goal is to make the developer experience as easy as possible, so they can go out there and do what they do best, make awesome applications for users, and ultimately this will drive the adoption of our industry as a whole. So like you mentioned, everything in this industry I like is win-win situations. And there's a lot of synergies between our teams, and I see continued collaboration between Polygon zkEVM, and Covalent. And finally, let's get further into what's up next for Polygon zkEVM. So what are some of your team's plans for the rest of the year now that Mainnet has launched, and what can we expect to see next from Polygon zkEVM?
Well, as I mentioned before, besides some small improvements that we are doing right now, for example, in a few weeks, we should enable the forced transactions, and we have some small things that we need to do in the mainnet. But besides that, the next big update is going to be mainly about data compression and implementing some of the missing precompiled smart contracts like pairings and SHA-256 mainly. These are the big two topics, the big two topics that we are working in the main team. We're also working in parallel with the decentralizing the sequencer. This, let's see. This I'm not that sure. So this for the end of the year, but decentralizing the sequencer, we need to see when, and I think there is a little bit more of work there. But we are actively working on that front. And yes, I don't want to forget also the security. Security is always a work in progress. We have a full department, full security department in Polygon that's continuously auditing. We're running. I want to remind people that we're running a bug bounty. All the code is open source. I spur the people to take a look on that, even to take a small piece, but just go as deep as you can. And this is a community effort. Security is also a community effort, not only for Polygon zkEVM, I would say for any decentralized project. So especially here for new developers, the people that is just starting in the space, I think a very good way to start is just looking at existing projects and trying to go deep to the code and just trying to understand different pieces of the code. This may help because if you go too deep to the code and you are a good coder, you can find things, and this is rewarded. And at the same time, you will learn a lot about how this technology works. So here, I would like to do a call here for developers to take a look at the code.
Yeah. No, basically, I will repeat what Jordi was saying, but in different terms. This year, we want to scale more. We want to reduce cost for users. We want to make this more secure and robust, and we want to decentralize while we provide value to the Matic token, because the zkEVM is in the first phase with a single trusted sequencer, but decentralization is also in the roadmap in a very important position. So move forward to this path of decentralization is key for us also, and we will be working very strongly on this topic during the rest of the year.
Awesome. It sounds like there's a lot to look forward to, and definitely developers, go check out Polygon zkEVM, go on your docs, and building on it is super easy, just like you would on Ethereum. We can attest to that. And look, we really appreciate you guys for coming on today. It was super fun, and I feel like I learned a lot more about Polygon zkEVM and how it complements the Ethereum ecosystem. So thanks so much again for what was a really informative discussion.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
Yep. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and hope everyone has a great rest of their day.
Thank you.